So in order to do these problems where we have to find unknown sides, you need a side and an angle in your right angle triangle. But first, what we need to identify is what our hypotenuse, adjacent, and opposite are on a triangle. Now, on every right angle triangle that you're going to see, you're going to always assume that it is a right angle triangle. You have to realize that the first thing that you can easily find on any triangle is the hypotenuse. That's h, right? Now, with every triangle, there's always going to be some related angle. In this case, I tend to put my angle on the bottom right corner. You could put it up on the top. It's up to you. Now, if my angle is here at the bottom corner, right, then you have to realize that because the side that is directly beside it is called the adjacent. We'll call that big A. And the side that's left over is always called the O. Now, after you've determined the sides that you're looking at, whether it be H and A, or O and H, or O and A, you're going to use SOHCAHTOA. And we'll get into that when we're using our calculations on the next page here, okay? But for SOHCAHTOA, what we've studied so far is a thing called the cross product. So if I had, say, remember our cross product, we use this to solve for x in our similar triangles. So if you had, say, let's say I had x over 5 is equal to 0.5. I can write that as 0.5 over 1, and then what I can do is I can cross product these. So now the 1 and the x go together to give you 1x, which is equal to, well, 0.5 times 5, which is 2.5. So 1x is 2.5. And then to get rid of the x, we take whatever's in front of the x value and divide it out on the right side. So we get 2.5 divided by 1. So our final answer is 2.5. So you're going to be using something like this. And on your worksheet, I'll give you extra possible solutions that you can use. But this is what we studied the cross product for, which is our solving for unknown sides using cross product. All right, watch the rest of the video. Good luck.
So now let's take a look at this next problem here. So let's say if we're determining the sides of a right angle triangle. So imagine we have this triangle here. And we have the following sides on our triangle. So we have 18. We have 30 in our angle. And what we're looking for is the x side. So I'm going to write down all the rules to find it, and then we'll follow the instructions. So here are the steps. In order to do this, we need to determine the theta. In this case, we've already figured out that our theta is going to be 30 degrees. So the next thing that you have to do is you have to go and label the sides of your triangle H. There is the adjacent, and there is O for opposite. So now we're going to highlight the sides that we have. So we're going to highlight the sides that we have. So let us do that right now. So we're going to highlight the H side and the O side. I think what we forgot to do is we forgot to write SOHCAHTOA. So we're going to have to make sure we write SOHCAHTOA for all of the different ratios of sine, cos, and tan. And we look for the two sides that we have, right? And in this case, we're looking for x and 18. So that means that we've got CAHOSOH. So in order to find this, now it says you underline what you want. Now you got to substitute what you've got. So let's go and simplify by substituting. So we write sine of theta is equal to O over H, and then we substitute accordingly. Theta in this case is this. So we're going to write sine of 30 is equal to O, which is x, over 18. Now, we're going to punch in. We need to calculate this right away. So calculate that ratio and you get the following. Sine of 30 is 0.5 equals x over 18. And now we use either Wakanda forever, or we multiply both sides by 18. Whatever you need to do, you do what you need to do. So some of you guys like to do cross multiplication, so let's do that right now. So I can write this as 0.5 over 1, and I cross multiply. So now I have 1x is equal to 0.5 times 18. Zero 0.5 times 18. And that gives us 9, and 1x is just x. So there is our answer. Now let's do the last question of the day, then I'll give you your homework. So imagine I have a right angle triangle that looks like this. And I have 14 and 14. And I have this side x I'm looking for, and this angle here is 45 degrees. Now, because I have two sides that are the same, we call it an isosceles triangle, which means that this angle is also 45 degrees. But I'm going to use this angle here for the angle that we're going to use. We're going to call that theta. So immediately we start by writing so, ka, toa. Then we're going to label the sides of our triangle H. Now that we've labeled all our sides, what we're going to do is we're going to identify what sides we need to solve. So in this case, I need the H side and I need A side, and then I go back to my SOHCAHTOA and I look for it. I look for the ratio that uses A and H. In this case, it's CA and H. So now let's begin by doing the calculation. So now we're going to write cosine of theta is equal to A over H, and we're going to substitute accordingly. In this case, we've got cosine of 45 degrees is equal to 14 over x. So now we're going to take a look at this ratio and we're going to change it into a decimal. You change it into a decimal and you get 0.7071 is equal to 14 over x. Now we're going to change this into a fraction. Then we're going to do Wakanda forever. We're going to cross multiply. So now we get 0.7071x is equal to 1 times 14. Now, to get rid of this 0.7071, we're just going to divide both sides by 0.7071. Divide by 0.7071. And so now we get x is equal to 14 divided by 0.7071, which means x is equal to a approximately 19. And actually 19.8 is the decimal that we get. Now, your homework for the day is solving for unknown triangles, unknown angles and sides in right triangles. Good luck.